Right then, so I've now got a heavyweight boxing hot take now for you guys. I believe that Zhang is Oleksandr Usyk's next toughest test in the heavyweight division. And, I think overall, styles make fights, as we know. And I think Zhang style-wise is the toughest test for Oleksandr Usyk. I mean, this all being said, I still believe Oleksandr Usyk would defeat Zhang. But I think Zhang's got some attributes that can cause Oleksandr Usyk quite a bit of trouble at times. But I still think Oleksandr Usyk would get through it. But I do think out of everyone now, out of all the top contenders, now Usyk's, he's dealt with Dubois, he's dealt with Fury, he's dealt with AJ. I think Zhang's Usyk's biggest test now, overall star-wise. Whether this fight happens or not, I don't know. And it probably won't. But I think star-wise, Zhang's the toughest for Usyk. And I'm going to go through that in this video. And I do think that, first of all, a big thing is that Zhang is a southpaw. So that puts something in Zhang's favor, because obviously Usyk's southpaw, Zhang's southpaw. They're both southpaw. So Zhang doesn't really need to adjust to fighting a southpaw because he is a southpaw. So that's something that, puts something in Zhang's favor. I also do think another thing as well is that Zhang is good in the battle of the lead hands in fights. That's a big thing that Zhang needs as well. And, Zhang's good at being able to lure you in with his lead hand, and he's got a good snappy lead hand as well, Zhang has. So that's something as well. Zhang can knock you out with his lead hand. He's very good at being able to adjust his jab into a hook. I think he's very clever with his lead hands, Zhang. And Usyk's the exact same. Usyk's also ridiculously clever with his lead hand. And again, it's something that does kind of put Zhang in a better situation here to try and possibly cause Usyk problems. And also as well, Zhang is a strong guy. So, Zhang is going to be difficult to push back for Oleksandr Usyk. And Zhang is very good at taking the front foot in fights and making it difficult for you. But overall, as the fight goes on, I do believe Oleksandr Usyk will make it more into his fight, and Usyk would eventually beat Zhang. But I'm just explaining why I think Zhang is the toughest test for Usyk right now. And I do think Zhang, he's a very accurate puncher as well. He doesn't, the good thing is about Zhang is that, he only throws when he knows he's going to land. And that's the big thing. Zhang, does mostly all the time throw his shots with intention. That's the big thing with Zhang as well. But I mean, as I've said, I think Usyk's going to be too quick for Zhang as the fight goes on. But, Zhang is good at being able to back you up. So would he be able to do it to Usyk better than what someone like AJ, Chisora, Fury, Dubois were? I think he possibly could be able to get more success than what other contenders have been able to against Oleksandr Usyk. I do. And I just think he's just got power, big power in his lead hand, big power in his backhand. He's a dangerous guy to be in there with. And in my opinion, Zhang's arguably the hardest hitter in the heavyweight division right now, in my opinion. It's probably Zhang and Dubois who are the hardest hitters in the division. But overall, I think Zhang's probably a smarter opponent than what Dubois is. So that makes things interesting. I mean, I think Zhang's a tougher opponent for Usyk than what Joseph Parker is, than what Caballero is, than what Marcin Bakole is. I think Zhang's really difficult to push back, and I think Zhang would really make Usyk work early on in the fight. I do think that he would make him work, for those first 4 or 5 rounds at least, and it'll be difficult for Usyk to push him back. But I think a thing with Zhang as well, which is eventually going to, be able to tie Zhang out, something that Usyk does, is that Usyk is just Usyk's consistent body work. And that is something which I think will eventually get to Zhang. Usyk's going to be outworking Zhang. And I do think a thing which isn't great for Zhang when he's fighting Usyk is his overall output. Usyk's output's fantastic. Zhang, as I said, he only really throws when he knows he's going to land, and Zhang's going to be really trying to set up that shot. But again, I feel like Zhang being difficult to push back and being a southpaw is something that really is good in Zhang's favor, 100% in my opinion. Being difficult to push back, being strong, standing his ground, that's something that's good for Zhang. Like, you never really ever see Zhang get backed up on the ropes that much at all. He's a really difficult guy to bully in there. And I think Zhang is stronger than Usyk. And you never know, Zhang could try and lean on him and try and use his attributes against Usyk. But again, Usyk's just got his way around all of these things at the end of the day. Like we saw it in those Fury fights when Fury was trying to lean on Usyk. Usyk was able to, not be phased by that at all. And Usyk was able to find ways around it. Usyk's always a moving target. And Zhang is not always a moving target. So for Usyk, that is good because Usyk will be able to tee off on the body, possibly try and go upstairs as well. But again, I think Zhang's going to be difficult to push back because of how good his chin is, how tough he is, how strong he is in there. He's going to try and make it difficult for Usyk to fully be able to fight his game and fully be able to dictate the pace of a fight. But as I said, as the fight goes on, that's going to be when it's really difficult for Zhang. But again, Zhang's going to find it difficult to fully push the pace against Usyk. But I think when Zhang's in there with you, he makes you think in different kind of ways. Because he's not going to let you fight your fight. Zhang's going to make it messy at times. And he's going to make you struggle with his power. If Zhang catches you, then, he's going to make you rethink and adjust. And we know that Usyk's very good at adjusting when he's in the ring. So he will eventually find his ways around Zhang. But to start with, Zhang, you never know, could pick up the odd round. Zhang needs to try and get as many rounds in as he can early on. But again, it'll be difficult to do it against Usyk. But I do think Zhang's got the attributes to be able to make it difficult, at least for Usyk. I don't think Zhang would beat Usyk, and I don't think anyone in this heavyweight division beats Usyk. I'm just saying I believe, out of everyone right now, that there is left for Usyk to fight. I think Zhang would, out of everyone, cause him the most problems. Anyway, I'm going to interview him.